All right, happy Friday, everyone. Good to see you. Woo! Man, there is so much excitement here. Well, let me take a second as you guys settle in. Now, here's the deal. I need to ask you to do something. Let's go ahead and let's put our phones away as we normally would. There will be a moment today where you get to get your phones out because we're going to do something special as we are led today in chapel. Okay, let me frame our day today. As you know, our project lead teams take some time each year to lead one of our chapels. We have heard from our local team. We've heard from our FCA team. We will hear from our Project 9 team in the month of May. Today, I would like for you to make a little noise for Project Lead Global. Can we do that? You guys come on. These three wonderful teachers lead our Project Lead Global team, and they're going to lead our chapel today as we hear from students, as we watch some videos, as we hear from some of our missionaries that we support. I want to ask you to do like we always do. Let's respect our peers as they speak today, and let's focus our attention on celebrating what God is doing through us and through others here and around the world. Can we do that? Amen. I'm so excited. All right, Project Lead guys, lead us.
Oh, all right. Hey guys, I am Mrs. Marr, and Project Lead Global is led by me, Ms. Setrin, and Mr. Kelly this year. We have an awesome team. Would you guys stand up just so we can see who we are? Stand up if you're Project Lead Global. Yeah. We have several missing. Yeah, all right. Awesome. They're going to have some orange buckets around later, so look for them and you will see why in the near future. But we work during the year to raise money to support the 24 students that we as an entire school support who live in Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So we have had several events that you guys have participated in that have helped us get to that goal. The tailgate at homecoming was one of our big events. We've had coffee houses that you guys have participated in. And then next week, we have WA's Got Talent. So those are some big things that we have throughout the year that this team runs, but really with the heart to raise money for the students that we support. And so that's a lot of what we're going to talk about today and we're going to focus on. And we're just going to spend today's chapel really trying to get into the heart of what the purpose of our team is.
All right, I'm going to open us up in prayer, and then we'll get started. Lord, thank you so much for this opportunity for us to come together as a whole school and learn more about you. God, I think of the ways that you are working not only here at Wheaton Academy, but in the entire world. I pray that you would help us during chapel today, but Lord, just in our lives, to be aware of the ways that you are moving and working. I just think of the students that we support in the DR in Haiti. I pray that you would bless them, Lord, that you would help them to know you and to know your goodness. And I pray that these students at Wheaton Academy would also just be aware of the ways that they can participate in your work around the world, Lord, and really being your hands and feet in a unique way. In your name, amen.
All right, so as Mrs. Marr said, we work with Kids Alive, and our biggest liaison over there is a couple named the Troutwines. You got to see them earlier this year. We have a video that you may have seen before, but we just wanted to show it again to show you who the Troutwines are, what they're doing down in the DR and with Kids Alive. So pay attention to this video real quick, and then we have some people to call up, and we're gonna hear about some people who have had firsthand encounters down in the DR.
Hey, Wheaton Academy! Hi, we're Leslie and Vic Trotwine with Kids Alive in the Dominican Republic.
And we're here at the Santo Domingo East School. We are super grateful for your sponsoring dozens of kids, for your donations. Keep eating those cinnamon rolls at the shack. And teams, this building behind us, we have something really exciting to show you. You guys worked on that foundation. Come on! We are really grateful for your partnership. And these kids could now be in this, is what you guys helped build.
Back before the pandemic, and we hope to have more teams back in the future. You guys help us help over really 2,000 kids in our 7 schools and 3 residential programs in the Dominican Republic. And those programs help kids in many ways, help them to have vibrant relationships with God. They help them to grow up physically and emotionally well. They also help us as we educate kids so they can have lives of independence and service to others. And finally, these programs help kids grow up free of fear and violence.
We are super grateful for your partnership with Wheaton Academy, and we can't wait to see you back here in the Dominican Republic. Adios.
Adios.
Right, so I have not had the chance myself to go down to the DR, and so that's why we wanted to invite up a few people who have spent time down in the DR. So would you give a warm welcome to Mr. Thompson, Riley Wilson, and Ian Dalmas. All right, welcome up. Oh, we got a prop. All right, Mr. Thompson, we're going to start with you. We would love to hear, I know this is your first year here at Wheaton Academy, that you're coming from the DR. Would you tell us a little bit about your experience down there, what it is that you did, how long you were there? What was most impactful for you?
Exactly. Before coming to Wheaton Academy, I was down in the Dominican Republic with Kids Alive. Kalo K. Wandy. I worked with Kids Alive in the Dominican Republic for 2.5 years. I was not at the Santo Domingo school that you saw there. I was in a site called Constanza, which is up in the mountains in the middle of the country. But yeah, it was a great experience. I initially went down to be a service team host, so would have been one of the people receiving any teams like winterim trips that came down there, helping you guys figure out all the roles you're doing, translating, shuttling you around to different spots. But it was pandemic time, so when I got there was no service teams at all. So I ended up having to pivot. I had to do some math tutoring because they have a school in Constanza and they also have one of the residential programs, which was known as an ARC, but now they're switching the name to Safe Havens. And there I got to connect with the kids, teach some math, play soccer, lots of different fun stuff. And then eventually I got more involved with sponsorship coordinating. So sponsors would send letters, I'd help translate them, help the kids write back, respond back. That was really a cool experience. And then eventually I got involved to the point of being an assistant teacher in one of the 4th grade classrooms. And that's why I have my prop. All the little handprints from my 4th graders in the Dominican Republic. Yeah, so this is on the shelf in my room too. So if you ever want to get a closer look, see some of the names of my students down there. That was still with me here then, so.
That's wonderful, thank you. Would you tell us a little bit more? I know the Troutwines mentioned it. What are all the ways in which Kids Alive supports these children down in the DR?
Yeah, these kids, a lot of them come from really tough spots. In the Dominican Republic, it's a really impoverished country. So we look for students and children in the communities who are really vulnerable, at risk, have some hard situations, and those are the kids we try to bring in and really help out at our schools. So the schools are a tremendous place for them to see positive role models, get some love, see God's love shown to them so they can know their value and their worth as children of God as well, as image bearers of Christ. And they also get a lot of their physical needs and like the mental, emotional, educational side too. So a lot of them, they get meals there, breakfast and lunch. Some of them, that's the only meals they get. They might not have stable food at their homes and their family situations. So it's really a spot that provides well for these children and sets them up to have success later on in life too.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Riley, I want to hear about your experience down in the DR. When did you go? What was your experience like? What was a highlight?
So I went to the Dominican Republic for winterim this year in January, so I was there for a week, and I absolutely loved it. I loved my time there. I loved spending time with the kids, and it was also just really beautiful there, so being able to just spend time and see the beauty of God's creation was really cool. We served at Palo Blanco in Barbacoa, and it was right by the mountains, so being able to see that every morning was really cool. We went on a hike, we went to see a waterfall, and the beauty there was really cool to see. And then just the kids themselves just were so full of joy, and they were so fun to work with. We spent, every day that week at Palo Blanco with the kids, and they didn't know us, but they welcomed us right away. They were excited to see us every morning, and they were just, like I said, they were just so full of joy and love, and they loved each other so well, and they loved us really well, and it was a great experience.
That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear you had a great time down there on your Winterman trip. But among the beauty, what were some of the needs that you saw there the most?
Yeah, so being at the school, one of the biggest needs I saw was just like nutrition-wise. Like Mr. Thompson said, the meals they get at school for most of them those are the only meals they get every day. And we also worked a little bit over the week helping with their medical records and their heights and weight charts. So we kind of got to see like where they were at, and which was kind of hard to see as well, just because a lot of them they don't have access to good nutrition. Like it's just not available to them. So that was a big need there. And also just for the kids specifically, there was this need for like relationship. Not all of them have very healthy home lives. And so just us being there and spending time with them, spending time like intentionally building relationship and just playing with them, that was really big for them as well.
That's great. I'm imagining that's pretty hard to go through to see those kids, but did you leave feeling encouraged after your trip?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, the kids there was so much joy there. Like there was so much joy and love that you could see, and there was this very tangible evidence of just God's work in and through their lives, whether it was through the testimonies that were shared with us or just watching how they interacted with us and with one another. They were just so much love there, and they were so grateful, and they were so generous with us with what little they had, and especially with just the ministry that Kids Live is doing and seeing all that they're doing to help those kids and their family, and just like Mr. Thompson said, just bringing God into their lives and helping to set them up for success later on in life.
That's great. Thank you, Riley. I really appreciate that. Ian, what about you? What did you do with Kids Alive?
So yeah, I went on the same trip that Riley did, and as a team, we had a couple of opportunities to serve. So probably the most obvious one was just hanging out with the kids. So we got to participate in their sports, in their classes, kind of lead some of that, also just recess. But we also got to serve in some really key behind-the-scenes functions that the leaders of the school needed and wanted to get done, but maybe didn't have the time for then and there. So one of the main ones was going through their medical records and updating their height and weight charts, which is the kind of thing for us, it's literally done automatically by software. We don't really think about it. But for those kids in the DR, if someone wasn't there to do it, it wouldn't have been done. So that was one of those sort of behind-the-scenes things that we did. Another example was a team built a wall outside of the perimeter of the school, which is really important so that they have a very safe environment to play, which isn't always a guarantee in the DR. So yeah, those were some of the ways that we served.
Awesome. So it sounds like there's a lot of medical establishment involved with Kids Alive. What about the education system? What did you do involved with that? How did you see education as a priority there?
Yeah, so what this trip really did for me is reaffirm this belief that I have that education can transform a community. Because these are kids who, if it wasn't for Kids Alive, may not graduate high school, right? But thanks to Kids Alive, not only are they graduating high school, they're graduating college. And then because of that, they can go on to lead professional careers. And the DR is a place, and you can just see this, with a lot of wealth inequality. You have very nice houses next to very poor living conditions. And there's no real way to bridge that gap without education. So that's why it was really cool to see what the Kids Alive in the DR is doing, because they're building that middle class out in a way that didn't really exist before.
That's really interesting. And then in your words, Ian, I know you're graduating this year and you won't have another winter opportunity, but I know our school continues to take trips down to the DR. In your words, why should a Wheaton Academy student take a trip down to the DR? And Riley, I'd love to hear your opinion on that too, just as you graduate and as you give encouragement to the students who are currently in the process of selecting what they might do. Why should they go down to the DR?
So yeah, in my mind, there's really two main reasons. And then the first is just getting to see everything that we've talked about here firsthand and seeing God's goodness and provision through these incredible men and women and children that run and participate in this ministry. It's really life-changing. The second reason is that you get to be part of that. Like in ever so little of a way, in a week, you get to experience this new culture and participate in it. And that was really cool.
Yeah, I think Ian hit it pretty well, but also just it's such an amazing service opportunity, and you really, even if you're there for a week, you make a huge difference in these kids' lives, and they love it when people come down and play with them. It's just such a big deal to them, and it's a really amazing opportunity.
Thanks for sharing, guys. Back to Mr. Thompson real quick. I wonder if you could speak to the needs for Kids Alive, as someone who not only has been down there, but who has also worked as a part of the organization. What are some of the biggest needs you see in that organization?
Yeah, so since Kids Alive is a ministry, it is fully funded by sponsors and by fundraising. So all the things that they provide for these kids, the meals that they get every day, the school uniforms that they provide for some of the students too who need them, school materials, all these resources, salaries for the teachers, because I was there as a missionary, but there was only like 4 missionaries at the site, 5 missionaries at the site where I was working. All the rest was Dominican staff members, just people who were there working, so the salaries for them, all like the cost for the school is all provided through the sponsorship program that they do. So the ability to be able to build into these child's lives, kind of break out of cycles of poverty, like you mentioned. The hope is to bring in education, but also, Christian education, letting them know about God's love for them so we can raise up Christian leaders in their community that can really go out and then they can be making the difference as well. So that's how we really can see a place transform. But all those needs are really brought around through the goodwill of people here stateside too that are help providing for it.
Awesome, thank you. Well, there's one student who couldn't be here today, Jack Schroeder. He's done a lot of work with the DR. He's coming up with educational programs, finance programs. He's been down there several times. He wishes he could be here today, but he recorded a video for us, so we're going to get to hear a little bit of his interview. So if you would give your attention to Jack via the screen, he'll talk a little bit more about what Mr. Thompson's been discussing, and then we'll have an opportunity to talk about how the tangible ways that we can support Kids Alive and the kids in the DR, what we can do to bring about that change and help. So let's see what Jack has to say.
Hello, Little Scholars. My name is Jack, and I'm a senior on Project Lead Global. And I'm dressed like a traffic cone today because I'm going to be telling you a little bit about Kids Alive and my experience with them, and why you guys should ultimately consider either donating or even going on a mission trip to the DR. I've been working with Kids Alive for a little over 1.5 years now. I'm developing a business program for their sites in the DR. But over the past 1.5 years, I've traveled to the Dominican Republic about 3 times. And during these times, I've learned a lot about the ministry and the impact they've had on communities there. Now, I'm sure many seniors are familiar with the college application process. And you know that the schools you are applying to have certain academic, athletic, or certain requirements they want you to meet. And if you don't meet those requirements, then you're rejected, like me or Mateo, wherever you are. And I'm sure a lot of other of you were. Now, if it makes you feel any better, you'd probably also be rejected at Kids Alive, but for a different reason. When Kids Alive looks for students, rather than looking for something that students have, they're looking for something that students lack. Whether that's a stable financial situation, a safe environment to grow up in, or parents, Kids Alive is looking for kids that don't have basic necessities that most of us have. As a result, many students are orphans, abuse victims, refugees, and impoverished, and have went through hardships unlike anything most of us have probably experienced in our lives. But Kids Alive, through their amazing teachers, staff, and programs, helps grow these kids spiritually and educationally, and provides them with the resources that they need to be successful in the future. There are so many stories of students who have had their lives completely changed as a result of the ministry, and I could probably talk for hours about the amount of students that have had this. But outside of the students, Kids Alive also impacts the community around them. One school that I served in, called Palo Blanco, used to be in one of the most dangerous and violent neighborhoods in the Dominican Republic. Also, many young girls, as young as 12, had to get involved in child marriages to survive. But after the school opened in the community, crime rates drastically fell. And most girls in the communities graduated high school, and they went on to pursue a career, which is unprecedented in this neighborhood. It was evident that Kids Alive not only had an impact on students in the area, but the entire community itself. As you can see, it's an amazing ministry that has probably impacted thousands of people across the world. But I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how you can get involved. And one of the biggest ways is by participating on a mission trip, like the one going to the Dominican Republic for Winterim. Now, there's other trips you can go on, like the one going to Thailand or Europe, where you see amazing things, amazing monuments, and you're more of a tourist, which is great. But when you go to the Dominican Republic, instead of seeing things, you're seeing people. And instead of being a tourist, you're really accepted into their community as one of them. And when you get there, you'll immediately start building relationships. And that's really the main goal of these trips. Unlike other mission trips that are focused on building some sort of house or focusing on a project, which you might do, but usually it's about developing relationships with the people that Kids Alive serves. And when people go on these trips, they always ask me, well, how do I interact with kids there? And I always tell them, you act the same way that you would with kids here. People like the same things. Like most of the guys I talk with still are interested in sports, cars, school, and girls. One kid had a list of every girl he'd gotten rejected by that he had to keep showing me. And really one thing that they all focus on too is God. And you'll see the level of faith that many people have down there. And just seeing the level of commitment that they have really will probably have an impact on your own faith as well. But through these interactions you have with people down there, you'll start to see the impact that they have on you. And it really will probably change your life, whether it's in a very small way or a very large way. You'll start to see a new perspective that you haven't seen before. And this will hopefully get you involved in more things, either with Kids Alive or with similar organizations. But also, you'll be having an impact on kids down there, because many of them don't get to travel to new places or see new things. So when you go down there and you just play a game of volleyball with them, you'll create memories for them that last many years. And I've went down about a year later, and they still remember kids from a mission trip about a year ago, and they'll bring up kids from much farther than that. Now, one of the biggest ways you can help is by making donations. But I'd still recommend going on a mission trip first, because it will make these donations much more impactful, because you'll be able to see the tangible benefits of what they can do for people. But when making donations, I wouldn't view them as giving them to a big organization. If you went on a mission trip, I'd view them as giving it to one of the people that you met to help support them in their lives. And if you didn't go, another good way is to put yourself in people's shoes down there. Imagine that some stranger donated money to give you housing, a meal, an education, and how much that would mean to you. And that is what's happening when you make a donation. One person who I met, who was 19 years old, which is not older than most of us in this room, he was involved in things like drugs, alcohol, and crime at a young age. But he joined the ministry, and through the amazing teachers, education, and spiritual foundation they gave him, he was able to turn his life around. And now he's actually a PE teacher at the school. He's involved at his church. He leads a youth group. He's in the choir. And every night he goes to university to pursue a degree. So when you make donations to the ministry, you'll be helping thousands of kids like this one. And they'll be able to really have new lives as a result of them. I hope you were able to learn a little bit more about Kids Alive, and that maybe you're interested on going on a mission trip, because really some of my best memories are from there, and it's just had such a large impact on my life. But if not, hopefully you consider making a donation, because both ways will have such an enormous impact on people just like you and me in the Dominican Republic. Thanks for watching.
All right, thank you to our interviewees. You guys can go back and take your seat. Appreciate you guys coming up here today and getting on stage. It's never easy. All right, so what I want to talk to you guys a little about is what Project Lead Global does. One of our goals is to fundraise for the children that we support. Wheaton Academy supports 24 kids down in the DR in Haiti. We are their full support. They don't get support from anybody besides us. Our budget, our goal for raising money throughout this year is $15,000. Maybe sounds like a lot to you, maybe doesn't, not sure, but a little bit of quick math. $15,000 divided by 24, $625. That's how much it costs to fund. I think I had that right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. I got it right. That's how much it costs to fund a child for an entire year. $625. Think about the last time you dropped $600, right? Probably wasn't that long ago. I was talking to a guy yesterday. He played a round of golf recently, and greens fees were $600. I just thought, wow, context for that, right? One round of golf, an entire child's year of education, of clothes, and food. So this is my ask for you today. I want to see our student body support these kids down in the DR. I'm not asking for a ton because we have a lot of students who can work together. We heard earlier about food. The main meal that these kids get is at Kids Alive. It's their lunch. Lunch here for you costs $7. If everybody in here donated one lunch to Kids Alive, we will have successfully funded 8 kids for an entire year. You give up one lunch, or at least one lunch worth of money, and we will fund 8 kids for an entire year. I would love to see Wheaton Academy rise to that. So there's going to be 2 ways. We're trying to make it as easy as possible. And so we have 2 ways. One, you're going to see some of the members of Project Lead around at the exits at the end of this chapel, and they're going to have buckets. And so if you want to donate by cash, $5, $10, whatever it is that you can give, we would appreciate it. We also are going to have a QR code. It's by Cheddar Up. I did it today already. I donated my $7 and a little bit of change for the processing fee or whatever. It took me 30 seconds. I had a timer. I think I did it under 30 seconds. I'm pretty quick. So get out your phones. I would love for you to get out your phones. This is the one time during chapel that you can get out your phones. Take a look at the QR code. If you can give $7 today, you will make a difference in a child's life. And I have a surprise announcement. I haven't told anybody this. Even Mrs. Marr and Ms. Setrin don't know this. We have an anonymous donor who is willing to match whatever is given today. So whatever you give today is actually going to get doubled.
That's awesome.
Okay, so let's see if we can hit $7 per kid, 650 of you, $7. I would love to see us approach that goal today. If you want to give more than 7, there's Apple Pay on this app. Cheddar Up. I did Apple Pay. I didn't have to put it. It was super easy. So elbow that person next to you. Take a picture of this QR code. There'll be buckets at the back. I would love to see how much we can do for Wheaton Academy and Kids Alive. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds. That's all it took me to donate. You guys can do it. And then we have some fun announcements.
We're good. Yeah. That's awesome.
How's it going? Are we finding it easy? Anyone done? Got an error. No. The code should be open for a little while longer if it's not working right now. Raise your hand if you were able to do it.
Oh, yes.
I want to see a lot more hands.
Yes, Clegg.
All right, I was able to get done. I hope you're not hitting an error screen. Don't create an account. Just do it as a guest. It took 20 seconds. You put your name in, your phone number, and then you just do Apple Pay. And it was.
I'm so aware of my face.
All right, we will leave the QR code up there. We would love for you to donate. Super easy, should be super easy, and I found it super easy. You can still do that through the rest of the chapel. All right, we do 3 to 4 fundraisers a year. All right, we do the tailgate. Went great. You guys turned out. We raised a ton of money. I think more than any other tailgate. We did a coffee house, and we got a ton of you to come. Our really big fundraiser is next Saturday. It's Woz Got Talent. I think we have a stellar lineup of kids. We have 4 categories of competition. We have athletics, we have trivia, we have video games, and we have fine arts. This was the vision behind this. Who are the favorite seniors in the student body, right? We want to get them up on stage. Some of them are up here a lot. Some of them are on the math team, and they're up here like every week, right, with all their accomplishments. Some of them are in fine arts. Some of them are up here for musicals, and we get to see them. But some of them are not. Some of them are quiet. Some of them avoid the limelight. They're nodding their heads right now. So I would like you to welcome up our athlete representatives. You guys can come on up, stand here behind the chairs. One of them's not here. All right, athletes first. We're gonna do. Will Clegg is on it, but he's not here today. He's on choir. He's here. I was told you're not here. Welcome, Will Clegg. Give me Canyon Roberts. Give me Wandy Munoz. And guys, this one was hard. I had to work at this last one. He didn't want to be here, but he's going to do great. Give me Josh Bell. We are going to get to see these four guys compete it out to see who has the most athletic talent in our school. You voted. These were the people. Let's go. We'll get to the teachers. We got some teachers coming too. All right. Trivia. You voted. Who do you associate with wisdom, intelligence, smarter than most of the teachers like me? Would you please welcome to the stage Daniel Titcomb, Adrian Gear, Lorian Finney, and David Jong. Where is he? There he is. Some of the smartest students at our school up on the stage. We're going to see who can take it for the trivia competition next Saturday. All right, what do you guys care about? Video games. We wanted to see who's the best. Who is the biggest gamer at this school? All right? So we've got a lineup. I think you might know who it is, but we're going to save them for last. Welcome up for video games, Mitch Carrick. Peyton Schur. The one and only Nate Burden. And who the people are really coming to see, Micah Hermes. Listen, this was just a big excuse to get Micah up here. We just want to see him up here. Lastly, we have fine arts. Unfortunately, a lot of them are out on choir tour. So we're going to have a performance from Scotty Murray, from Joey Urban. We've got Danny Mantell, but they couldn't be here today. So our only present contestant for the fine arts is going to be Abby Gorduke. Welcome her up. Next Saturday, 7 o'clock, you're going to want to come. You're going to want to see these contestants. We also have some teachers. I don't know if they're in the room, but they're going to be sort of the mark to be... They're going to be the mark to be measured against. We are going to see who is more athletic, right? We're going to... Who would you want to see compete in athletics? You want to see E.T., E.T.'s going to be there. You can stay there. That's all right. We're going to see in trivia who can outsmart Mr. Tollefson. So Mr. Tollefson's going to be our teacher representative for fine arts. Who better than Mr. Williamson? He's going to give us a wonderful performance next Saturday. And lastly, through the video games, the final boss, Mr. Regan. All right, next Saturday, 7 o'clock, $10 at the door. There are some VIP seats out here too, though, right? Remember, every dollar goes straight to the kids. We don't take any for the school. We don't take any for us. Every single dollar that we raise next Saturday, the concessions, the shack, the raffle tickets, the tickets at the door, every single dollar goes to Kids Alive. So we would love your support. We would love to see you. Who doesn't want to see this great group? Give it up one more time for this group of kids. QR code is on the screen. Students at the back with buckets. You are dismissed, Wheaton Academy.